Hey, hey, this is Mr. Don. Does studying English make you want to say, hell yeah? If so, you're in the right place. I'm coming at you live from my apartment in Hanoi, and this is episode 2 of EF'nL. Hell yeah, where we talk about English the way it's spoken by native speakers like me in the real world. And this week, our topics include tattoos, chickens, Vin Diesel and aliens, George Orwell, great author, shooting elephants, cornbread, and going crazy. So, if that appeals to you, then spend the next 15 to 20 minutes with me learning something new. Let's get started. All right, this is the segment I like to call small talk or chit chat. And today I'm going to talk about tats or tattoos. You just saw some of mine, um, which are all on my legs to answer your first question. And to answer your second question, why don't I have any tats on my arms? Or do you have any tats on your blank? No, I don't have any tats in any weird places, just on my legs. That was a conscious decision early on in my English teaching career, just because it was more difficult to get hired as a teacher if you're wearing short sleeve shirts and then you've got tats showing on your forearm or on your arms, visible tats. Also, the the brightest tat, the one you saw with the 3 stars and everything, that one is from the Philippines. And so I've had tats done in Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, Okinawa. And yeah, they all represent something, places where I've been that are important to me. Obviously, Japan, you saw the samurai. Um, there's yin yang with salmon from the Pacific Northwest of the US, where I'm from. The salmon is an integral part of the environment and a powerful symbol there among native tribes. And then, as you can see, I have a couple cartoons, Calvin and Hobbes. I think I got that in 1996 in Thailand, along with Snoopy. Those were two of my first hats. And yeah, I just got them because I love Snoopy. And when he's on his doghouse dreaming, it's really cool. He's always dreaming about being a pilot in World War One. And then Calvin and Hobbes, that represents, him jumping into the wagon and ripping down the hill at full speed. Just an adventuresome spirit, an adventurous spirit. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say about my tats. What about yours? Do you have a tat on your, do you have a tat in any weird places? And if you don't have tats, why not? Okay. Do you have any tats that you regret? That is a big one. You'll notice some of the colors are still pretty good on mine. A lot of these are from the 90s, early 2000s. A lot of them are 20 years old, have never been retouched. Um, but it's important to have a tattoo artist who knows what he or she is doing and that you trust. Don't just go to anybody if you're going to get a tattoo. That's my advice. Hey, this is the freaking fun phrase of the week. And this week's fun phrase is don't count your chickens. Now, the full phrase is actually don't count your chickens before they're hatched. What does that mean? Well, it means don't count on something becoming true because it might not. Okay? Until it actually happens, don't think that it's going to happen. It's best to be a little bit wary, a little bit skeptical that it's actually going to come to pass. Don't depend on a future possibility actually happening. Now, let's just take a real world example. You're looking for a new job, and you tell your friend, full of excitement, yeah, man, I just quit my old job. I think I'm getting this new job. And he's like, what? And you might say, yeah. Well, and your friend might say, did they give you an actual guarantee? Have they sent you a contract? Well, no, but the interview went well and they told me that, they'd probably hire me. So, well, man, don't count your chickens, brother. Another related phrase is a bird in the hand. And the full idiom actually is a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Now, imagine you're out hunting with a rifle, a shotgun, and you're going to shoot some birds. A bird that you've already shot, and you're grabbing it, and you're holding it. That's probably worth two that are in the shrubs, in the bushes, in the bush, in the trees. Okay. What does that mean exactly? It means that you should probably weigh, when you're considering options for the future, you should probably think or weigh things that are for sure more heavily than you do future possibilities that may not happen. So the fact that may not happen is similar to, don't count your chickens. All right. So if you look at these different bullet points I put on here, a good absolute guarantee, this is the last one, is worth a lot more than future possibilities. So let's again go to the job example because I think this is really good. You've applied to several jobs, you're out of work, you are unemployed. And as some of us are from time to time. And then, you tell your friend, well, man, yeah, I got a job offer. It's not, I don't know, it's an okay job. I mean, I would like it all right, but it's not my first choice. And actually, I've applied to several jobs, and there are a couple jobs that I passed the initial, stage, the criteria. I had an interview, it went well. I haven't heard back from them yet. I don't really know, but, at least one of those, I mean, I would rather have those jobs. But this one's, pretty good, but they have an offer they want me to sign by tomorrow. I don't know what to do. And a friend might say, dude, man, a bird in the hand means you've got a solid job offer and a contract. Sign it because it's worth more than you thinking, well, maybe those other people might offer me a job, but I don't really know. All right, it is time for the music spotlight. And this week's spotlight is on one of my favorite American singer-songwriters of all time, and that is Johnny Cash, aka the Man in Black.
Well, Johnny always wore black, and he wore black because he identified with the poor and and the downtrodden.
All right, and he actually has a song called "The Man in Black," and you should check that out. But that's why he chose to wear black. And let's just take a look at Wikipedia here. You can see he got his start about the same time as Elvis Presley. He never became as well known or famous around the world as Elvis, but in America, he probably certainly was. And everybody loved Johnny Cash. People who were, uh, country music fans, which he mostly played country, but he also played some early blues. Blues music fans loved him. Rock and roll fans loved him. And yeah, he's just beloved by everybody. You see, he was also an activist. If you look at his history here on YouTube, you'll find Nixon and Johnny Cash. He was invited to play at the White House, and it's a good story. I'm not going to tell you the story, so find out for yourself. He also, in the 1960s, he released an album, Bitter Tears, about the plight of American Native Indians. And yeah, he did that on his own. It was against the advice of record companies, and they said it was going to be a failure. Of course, it wasn't. And what else can I tell you about Johnny Cash? There was a movie made in 2005, Walk the Line. It's very good. Joaquin Phoenix stars. Yeah, does the singing. It's a spot on. It's a really accurate portrayal of parts of Johnny Cash's life. And then later in life, as a very old man, he also redid some rock tunes. Hurt, the song "Hurt" became really famous towards the end of his career. So that is Johnny Cash. Please check him out. He's awesome. All right, this is the book of the week, or in this case, short story / essay of the week. And this is from the British author George Orwell. Now, some of you may already know him from his famous book, 1984, which talks about a dystopian future where there is a big brother who's always watching people. And there's an adjective in English, actually, Orwellian, that comes from that book. And he was making these predictions way back in the 1920s and 30s. That's when he was writing. It was pre-World War II. If you look at his history personally, it's kind of fascinating. He actually spent time as a constabulary member or officer, policeman of sorts, in British colonial Burma. And the British colonized that just like India next door. So, shooting an elephant, but here we go. The Orwell Foundation gives us a free copy online. You can find it other places as well. Let's have a quick look. Material remains under copyright, including the US, and then basically, so the Orwell estate, whoever these people are, basically said, yeah, screw the copyright in the US. This story is worthwhile for everybody to have for free. So we're going to go ahead and just post it. All right, good on them. That's awesome. So there's the story, and it involves an elephant that runs amok, and that is our whacked word of the week. And wow, it's just really profound about how social expectations and crowd behavior interact. Okay, and that's all I'm going to say about it, but give it a read, and yeah, check it out. Great story. Okay, this is the movie mayhem segment. And mayhem, I decided on that name because I want all of our movies to be full of action and badass. Our first movie was Rambo 4, and today, episode two's movie is Pitch Black. Now, if you haven't seen it, it stars Vin Diesel, and that's before he started making all of the Fast and Furious films. This one's much better, trust me. Let's take a look.
They say most of your brain shuts down in cryosleep. All but the animal side. Guess that's why I'm still awake.
If the man is gone, he's gone. Why should he bother us?
Maybe to take what you got. Maybe to work your nerves.
Is he really that dangerous?
Only around humans.
All you people are so scared of me. But it ain't me you gotta worry about now.
Whatever it is that got Zeke and it nearly got me.
Now, first of all, this is pitch black. Take a look at the screen. Pitch black, absolute black. No lights whatsoever. The kind of black you see inside a cave. You cannot see your own hand in front of your face. All right? Or maybe in your room if you black out all the windows with curtains and there are no lights on. So, as you can see, they crash landed on a planet, and there are aliens. And more than that, I'm not going to tell you.
They seem to stick to darkness. So if we stick to daylight, we should be all right.
Sure. Famous last words.
A total eclipse.
You all right?
We're gonna lose everybody out here.
You're not afraid of the dark, are you?
All right. And the follow-up to that was Riddick. Some of you might have seen that. That's also a great sci-fi movie, but this was first. So give it a watch. It's a badass movie. It's got a lot of great effects and a really good plot / storyline. And yeah, that is our movie mayhem movie of the week. Okay, this week's rice cooker recipe of the week is cornbread. And let's just look at what I've got in my sack for the ingredients. Bakao, I've got some rice flour. I've got some corn flour. Now, a lot of recipes use cornmeal. You can look the recipes up beside, but I think that's corn flour. This is some regular flour, some baking soda. They didn't have baking powder here in Vietnam at the local grocery store, but to activate baking soda, all you need is some honey, brown sugar, or citrus. I've got that covered, so it should be good. And there's the brown sugar. A little bit of salt. Okay, that's it for the dry ingredients. We're going to mix all those together in the correct proportions, and you can look the recipe up online. But here come the wet ingredients. Got a can of cream corn. I'm not going to use the whole can. I'm use a little bit of cream corn. Of course, I've got some butter. I'm going to actually butter the sides and the bottom of the rice cooker before I cook the cornbread. I've got some honey. Doesn't take much, a little bit of honey, a little bit of brown sugar, cane sugar rather. I've got eggs. I'm going to put in 1 or 2 eggs. And then I've got some yogurt. And some recipes use buttermilk, whatever. I'm going to use yogurt. So we're going to throw all of that in the rice cooker. Okay, once you have finished cooking, it should look something like this. Now, mine is on the final stage. I don't think it's going to look quite this good, but it should taste all right. And I think it's really important in baking to follow the recipe exactly. Not like chili. Last episodes kind of just throw everything in the pot to your own taste, and it turns out wonderful. Baking's a little bit different. So when you're doing something like that in a rice cooker, it's a little bit more challenging. Also, the key seems to be the rice cooker is going to turn off because it's going to think it's finished, and it isn't. And then what you have to do is wait about 20 minutes and then press the button down again, okay, for it to cook. And then it'll pop off after another 5 minutes. Then you've got to wait another 20 minutes and then push it down again. And you've got to do that, I would say, at least 4 times, at least in mine, to have it turn out. But cornbread, what do we eat it with in America? Well, it goes with last episode's recipe, which was chili. It also goes really well with beef stew, any kind of stew. So that's what you want to eat it with, and have some butter on hand to put on it as well. All right, that is the recipe of the week. Okay, this week's final segment is the wackety whacked word of the week, and it is, as you can see, run amok, a phrasal verb, a 2-word verb. Notice you can spell it with either a U or an O. Why is that? Well, it's because the origin of the word is from Southeast Asia, specifically Malaysia or Indonesia, and in Bahasa, it's mengamuk. And a lot of places there, and also in the Philippines, the U and O sounds are very close. Sometimes they spell words with O and sometimes with U. What does it mean? It means to go on a frenzied, murderous attack, as you can see, a killing spree, a suicidal, mad last stand. So you saw last episode, Rambo 4, at the end, the mercs, the hired guns, the killers, went on a rampage. That's another synonym. They went berserk. Stallone went berserk. Rambo went berserk. He started killing people left and right. In this week's story, Killing an Elephant by George Orwell, you also read about the elephant that ran amok, or the elephant that had gone amok. Okay, that is the wackety whacked word of the week. All right, that's it for this week's episode of EF'nL. Hell yeah. Join us next week for episode 3 and some more fun-filled adventure. Until then, take care. And if you need to review any of the segments and give them another listen, go back, look at the vocabulary list at the beginning, and do what you need to do. All right, out.